Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on crypto. Let's dig into everything that I spoke about during the crypto minute. So, BinanceUS, they are definitely geared up for war. What they've done is they've hired George Canellos. He is the former co-head of the Division of Enforcement at the SEC. I think that guy might know a few things. It's significant because what they're fighting is the request from the SEC to cease and desist operations. That's basically what it means, right? That would basically put Binance out of business. So it's to stop operations or stop their cash flow and everything else, but that would put, investors in jeopardy. So the very act of what the SEC is doing goes clearly against what they say they're trying to achieve, which is the safety of investors. Which begs the question continuously, what are you doing? Right? So think about this. The Hinman papers come out today. Okay? That's such a big deal that even Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital was talking about it yesterday, saying, listen, when those Hinman papers come out, those documents come out, we could very much learn whether or not the SEC even has the right to actually regulate digital assets. That's huge. That is huge. First of all, Congress is the body that should actually be governing, how the SEC is run, and then what the SEC's scope is. So I think that's the bigger deal. But the Hinman papers could actually shed a lot of light. If the Hinman papers are even half as good as what we suspect, that's going to have obviously a meteoric impact on the SEC versus Ripple case and probably bring on a momentous occasion, which would be the end of the case. Now, what we have to pay attention to is if they are that good and it brings a favorable end to the case, that will play out as you look at the other cases that the SEC has brought. And I also think the loss would kind of put the final nail in the coffin for Gary Gensler and his reign, and I do call it a reign, over at the SEC. I think it would absolutely call for reform. Why? Because the SEC's record will be beyond tarnished. You're talking about a federal institution, excuse me, that would be, crushed under the weight of that loss. And the reason why I say so is because it's a self-inflicted wound. It's not something where it's simple, right? The SEC has gone after cases where you have to stop and say to yourself, why? What's the reason behind it? Why this case, not that case? Just why all the way around? And you have to pay attention to that. So if you do, you can easily say, yeah, their record is already kind of tarnished, right? Or their perception is tarnished. So you look at that and you guys kind of go, yeah, all right, we'll see what happens there. Something else that happened stemming from the Binance case against the SEC case against Binance and Coinbase is that Robinhood dropped, we know this, Robinhood went coward and dropped a whole bunch of coins that the SEC stated or alleges are securities. Well, eToro has done the same thing with their US arm and saying, well, we're going to drop a few, right? I don't think they dropped all of them, but they dropped a few. Like Polygon, Algorand, I think Dash is one. I don't know why about Dash. And there was another one, Bitcoin Cash or something like that. I forget which one it was. But they're joining that bucket of, cowardly actions. Instead of banding together and saying, hey, let's fight the fight, they're saying, no, let's just bow out. Now, I can understand the business moves. I really can understand the business moves. I'm just not happy with them. So maybe I shouldn't call them cowards. No, I'm going to continue to call them cowards for a little while. Anyway, the reason why I call them cowards is because they should have fought. Because now what they're basically saying is we're close to exiting the U.S. market. And that's exactly what Gary Gensler wants. Why he would want that, I have no idea. We won't get into the new video that was released where, Gary Gensler says that certain things are not securities, period, back in 2018. We won't get into that. But it still begs the question how that 180 happened. What was the catalyst for that 180? The guy was looking to be an advisor to Binance. He was an avid teacher, professor on crypto, blockchain, and all that good stuff. Just what happened? That question still lingers. So it's a problem for me. It really is a problem for me because it points to strings being pulled. Right? That's what it points to for me. Something else that I'm wondering about is Senator Elizabeth Warren. I'm just waiting for her to chime in on the whole Warren Davidson and Tom is it Comer? Tom Emmer bill being brought forward. I'm still waiting to hear something about that because she is absolutely livid and she can't stand crypto. And I'm just trying to understand why. Is it because she's too old and doesn't understand crypto? She's too old and can't embrace new technologies, innovations? Just what is it? You have to remember that the United States government, most of the people in Congress and the Senate, they're old as shit. So I really do wonder if a lot of these people have the mental acuity to actually understand what crypto is all about. It's a hard thing to say, and it's painful. Some of these people, used to be quite brilliant. But when you see them fighting so hard against innovation, it really makes me wonder. Because if it's not the fact that they, are mentally unstable and, just too old to handle it, then it's got to be something else. So you can see why I'm trying to move toward, I don't want to believe that it's something else. I would rather believe that you're just old and, you've lived past your day and, we can go on. We can go on with some new blood and all that good stuff. Because if it's something else, that's going to be ugly no matter how you look at it. And I don't want to see a lot of these people, Republican and Democrat, I don't want to see a lot of those people go down that path. Because that would be telling, to say the least. Then you have the CPI numbers that are coming out today, about 8:30, right? 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Right now it's about 7 o'clock a.m. Those numbers, I've been listening to a lot of economists. A lot of economists are saying, yeah, we're thinking there's going to be a pause. However, what a lot of them are also saying is, listen, the Fed might want to actually get to 6%. How they get to 6% doesn't matter. A skip or a pause, not a problem, but it's going to kick in again if they deem 6% to be the number. Because remember, they were saying 5% might not be enough. By the way, XRP just popped up to 55 cents. Wow. And I think it's because of the Hinman papers. I'm going to be watching XRP a lot today. like a lot. I'm watching XRP so much today that I think it could actually drive the whole market up. Because it's a market impacting event. So that's what I'm looking for. Anyway, it's highly possible that the Fed is done hiking for right now. And I think it's a pause or a skip. They're going to look for numbers. And if the numbers continue to look good, then they'll relax a little bit. If the numbers don't look good, maybe the best we get is a pause. I'm hoping that it's a pause and that the numbers come in and it's still good and they pause again. If we can line up a first pause and then line up a pause after that because the numbers keep coming in that says inflation is going down, that would be perfect. That would be the happiest Christmas in a couple of years. It would be just an outstanding Christmas. So that's something for us to ponder. Anyway, you know what we should do? We should get to the numbers. So let me get real quick. Oh no, I wanted to start with this. There you go. So let's just refresh the screen real fast. I want to deal with the most recent numbers. All right, so not a lot of movement to the downside. for anything that I'm paying attention to so far. Let's see. Yeah, nothing really. Um, nothing that's got a significant move in my eyes. All right. Let's see on this side. Let's see. Filecoin is up 6%. Let's see. Phantom is up 7%. That's about it. Decentralized social or DSO is up 12%. Not something I'm not investing in it. I just find it could be interesting as a play. Hedera, I don't normally pay attention to 4% moves, but I am paying attention to Hedera itself, and that's a 4% mover. Aave 3%. Yeah, again, my 5% rule is still there. So now let's kick over to the big board. The big board says Ethereum is at 1754. You know that I want to be above 1800. Beat Bitcoin. You know I want to be way above where we are right now, but I'm happy to see a 2.6 instead of a 2.5 at the front end of that. Like I said, XRP is up to 55 cents. So I'm looking at some movers that I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, this could actually wind up being very big. When you look across the board, even with the good news that Polygon is coming with their ZK AVM, which is basically Polygon 2.0, right? It's still down. It's still down almost 15% for the year. So we need some major moves. I'm happy that it's up 1%, but we need some major moves by Polygon, and we need them now. So it's a very big deal for me. Look at the board over here. You can see that we're below my green band, but we're still above that 25 to 11 number that was once our ceiling. And now I'm using it as a floor. We've come dangerously close to hitting that floor a few times actually, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we seem to be bouncing along, still moving laterally, but our lateral movement has had a downward trend because of various news events and everything else. I'm suspecting if the Hinman papers carry any kind of good news, worthiness, done deal, market pops up. I think that's what happens, but we'll see. Also, CPI numbers, if those go in the right direction, anything below 4.4, that's going to be good. Market's going to take off. Both the stock market and the cryptocurrency markets, I believe, would take off. Now, the SEC going after Binance troubles me because what they're trying to do, it's sort of like when you buy a pot when you're playing poker. You just put so much money in that nobody else can afford it, and you get to win, not because your cards are good, not because you're playing fairly, but or you have skill, but just because you have the money to do so. That's why a lot of the tournaments, they all start you off at the same amount of money, and then you go from there. So that way you can't just buy a pot. The SEC's move proves that they're just trying to buy the pot, because that would take BinanceUS out of business. Then I would absolutely have fear that they would go after eToro, Kraken, Gemini, just name the rest of them, Kronos. They would go after the crypto.com rather. They would go after the rest of the smaller exchanges, because Coinbase has basically said, we have the money, we're going to fight, we're not playing any games. We're not going to disrupt our business until we're actually proven guilty. Then we'll actually stop our business. It's not that we want to continue criminal actions, as somebody said. I think it was John Reed Stark had said so. It's that we haven't been proven in the court of law that we've done something wrong. And until that happens, we're not moving anymore. When they went up against crypto, Coinbase removed XRP. And I don't think they're going to put it back, but I think now they're actually thinking to themselves, maybe we shouldn't have. Maybe we shouldn't have. Right? Because now they are fighting the fight and they're in it to win it. That said, they're being invited by other countries to go ahead and move. Go ahead and domicile in another country. Leave the United States. They're not helping you. And they're not. Look at how welcoming the UK is, because I think the UK would be the first place that a lot of companies would go. And it's a clear reason, right? You have access to workers, you've got the access to everything that you would need, and they're English speaking, right? So there's a reason. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto. I hope you have a good one. Oh, wait a minute. Fear and greed index is down. We're actually fearful right now. We're down to 45 from 50. So we're actually in the fearful territory right now. All right. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do, just drop me a note. Say thanks. Say hello. Say hi. Ask me how I'm doing. You know, if you have questions or if you have corrections, and a couple of people have corrected me, and I thank you so much. I thank you so much because I can't get it all right. Right? I don't have a huge team behind me. The team that works with me, they're actually working on bigger projects. So this is just me and my kids just doing our thing. So we can't be right all the time. So if you can correct me, I appreciate that too. If you can teach me something, love that even more. Anyway, have a good one. Bye-bye.